Just I have a brief question for Andrea, please. In referring to the EIS 2019 report, there were concerns about a creeping undervaluing of specialism in terms of the sort of undervaluing, actually by society, of work that's predominantly carried out by women and often perceived as something that anyone can do. So I just wondered if you had any comment or any update from that report.
Ms. Badley?
Yeah, not so much an update, but just to, I suppose we were trying to reflect what what members had been telling us about their experience as additional support needs teachers. So increasingly in recent years, what's happened is that when there has been cover required elsewhere in the school, the cover would be stopped from the additional support needs team. So teachers who would ordinarily work with individuals or small groups within whole class settings on a regular basis, then being pulled from that provision in order to be able to cover classes for absent teachers, not necessarily in areas of their subject specialism, say in the secondary sector, and a similar thing happening in primary where schools actually, a lot of this is actually funded by PEF money, would employ someone to work with groups of young people who had additional support needs linked to their socioeconomic backgrounds, and then finding that with the demands of cover and the lack of availability of supply or lack of funding to pay for supply teaching, being pulled from that extra provision that they were giving to those really quite vulnerable young people, and having to cover classes. And there'd been really kind of, I suppose, sporadic experience for the young people, but also a sense for the person who is an additional support needs teacher that actually the work that they're doing with those young people isn't valued. And I suppose the other aspect of that comment that was in the 2019 report was around additional support needs teachers, and additional support needs assistants. There was maybe a little bit of that coming through in Angela Morgan's report that was talking about the need to invest in professional learning for pupil support assistants, for there to be, I suppose, an enhancement of the status of that role, for us to be looking at around remuneration of that, because quite frankly the pay that cohort of staff receive is paltry when you think about the skills that they have and the importance of the work that they're doing. But again, that work is predominantly done by women, and so we were beginning to get a sense at that time that maybe there was something in the gendered nature of that cohort of the workforce that could there be some correlation between this lack of status, lack of value, poor remuneration for a really important job, and the fact that the majority of that work is carried out by women. So we were beginning to ask some questions around that.